Well, we're here to cook with apples today. Do you all know that? No, you didn't. You didn't know. You just came. Is there anybody that came because it was apples? Does anybody like apples? Where are you in the apple world? Who's done something with apples so far this fall? Seen some, eaten some? Where are you?
I just ate one today.
And what kind did you have?
It was an Macintosh.
A Macintosh, okay, very good. Okay, how about you?
I like your apple cake.
You like my apple cake, okay, the one.
It was in the Gazette a few years ago.
Okay, I'm sure it was. I don't know now. I get a little foggy on which recipe is which. But anyway, I'm glad you like it. Okay. Has anybody had a Zestar this fall?
Read about it today.
Zestar, we read about it. You've had a Zestar? Well, did you get it locally?
No, at Silver Lake,
Yep.
we had their Apple Fest and barbecue.
Silver Lake as in?
Mears, Michigan.
Yeah, okay. Do you know about Barbara up there? The Cherry Point Market?
Oh, yeah.
You know about that? Okay, she's a good friend of mine.
Oh.
Okay, and she has a fish boil. Have you heard about a fish boil?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay, I was there 4 times this summer. That's how much I like it. She also raises lavender. That's how I got to meet her. I cook lavender out in the field for her once a year.
Cook lavender.
Yeah, you can cook with lavender. You know, like you would cook with oregano or basil like that. It's like, okay, this is for Silver Lake. Okay, good. Now, anybody had a sweet tango? Has anybody had a sweet tango?
I read that.
Okay. There supposedly are 16 markets in Michigan that have sweet tangos. That there were first. See what they're trying to do. They're trying to get this apple that tastes perfectly, not too sweet, not too tart. And we want it to be early in September, so we don't have to wait till October. You know, we want it to be red all over, so we can, we're trying to do all these things. So there was one named Zestar, and then from Zestar and something else we got Honeycrisp. And then from Zestar and Honeycrisp we got the Sweet Tango. But the difference in the Sweet Tango is the Sweet Tango is the orchard has to buy into it and has to pay money for the franchise tag. Have it. And so there's supposedly 16, and I did look on the internet, but my husband did the other night, and I think Houston markets has it. You know about Houston out by, what do you call it?
West
Main out in there, yeah.
Myers is going to have it.
Myers was
It was
in
in
there.
tonight's paper, Myers and Walmart.
It's on the front page of the Gazette today.
We're cutting
about
it.
that
We're
out.
cutting it. We're cutting it. Just makes your heart go up. So they say Myers is gonna have it, and it also say get ready to pay the price.
$1 an apple.
$1 an apple, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Yeah. And so forth. Anyway, we aren't using sweet tango tonight because I had to use what I could find. This is a fun. It's going to be a good apple season. The apple people are really happy because all that they've had in storage are sort of used up, and it's a good apple season. But it's a little bit later than some years. And like we should be having lots of macs now, and some places their macs are out, sometimes not, and so forth. And so I went to Robinette's, which is up by Grand Rapids, to see them now. When you go to Robinette, you pay the top price, but you get good apples. So tonight we're going to use, for the cooking apple, we're going to use Paula Red's, which is a relative of Macintosh. Right? And then I also have Honeycrisp along the way, and maybe a Zestar along the way, and so forth. Most of all, we just got to get cooking and have fun. Anybody know an apple fact you'd like to share with me? Nobody feels like they have apple. Well, there's a lady there. She wishes she had one, but she doesn't. She doesn't have one. Okay. Okay. Now, when it comes to making applesauce in the microwave, there's one major problem. I think there's one major problem. Or maybe it morphs itself into 2 major problems. And that is that you really can only make a small amount at a time, because the thing that it's going to do that's going to make you mad, and the first thing that's going to come to your mind is, I wish I'd never met her. That's just all it is. And that is, it's going to jump out of the bowl. Does anybody have it jump out of the bowl? And what happens is, it needs so much of a bowl to to cook up, that you can't start with a 3-quart casserole right full, or it'll be out all over. And can you see? And those are the things that do make. There are reasons why people don't cook. There's a lot of reasons. You know what I mean? You know about putting cookies on some parchment paper? Yeah, people in Parchment know about that. Because it was out here. That's where they first made it. Okay. Yeah. And I had a lady the other night said, you know how you told us to bake our cookies on parchment. Well, she said, what I didn't tell her, which is probably true, I didn't tell her, is that you need to hold that parchment on the baking sheet with the pot holder when you pull those cookies out. Pull them out without, and then the sheet goes, and her sheet hit. And I said, and the sheet went on the floor. No, it was worse than the floor. The sheet went in the hot oven. So then there she is. She can't even bake cookies because she's got all this, you know, these half-baked cookies all over. So that's like with this. You have to sort of watch it. So I use this. This is what I use. I call that a 3-quart casserole. You can tell it's been used quite a lot. And what we need to do is we need to go down here into our cooler. And you know what the word is. If we're going into our cooler, don't go down unless you can come back up. because especially if they have a camera on you. Very careful. Now, what I envisioned here is if you had to watch me peel all these apples, we'd be here forever. So I have peeled apples ahead of time. And here they are. They are so white. They are so happy to be here. So they've been riding along, and we even have a red container for those of you in the back. See, we have sort of a red theme today. And here are the apples, and they're just quartered, and they are peeled. Some people put apples through a food mill, which you can do that. These won't have to be put through a food mill. They'll just mush up real easy. Okay, and I have a slotted spoon here, and I'm lifting in all this water. Sometimes or often when I make applesauce, I don't put any water with them at all. Now tonight, these are Paula Reds, and when I was making the applesauce, I felt that I could put some water in it, so I'm going to use a half a cup of water tonight. Now, I have read directions where they say cover your apples with water. Unless you want like thin puree. You know, that's way too much water, okay? So you don't have to use any water, or, as I say, I'm using half a cup. Now that probably is going to end up being a little more because they probably have absorbed a little bit in this water. So it might be a little thinner. But we're going to use it since we brought it. You know, if you brought your water, then you got to use it. Okay, so then I was thinking we'll put this back here and I'll dump this before we carry it up because every water we carry, you know, is extra. Okay, now to keep this nice and white, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 to 3, and I'll only need 2 because I already have fruit fresh in that water. Okay, this is what I call a scorpic acid color keeper, and you buy it like quite often in the canning aisle, like at Myers. It's at the canning aisle. It sort of depends on your store. Sometimes it might be in the baking aisle, and whenever you want to keep your fruit from turning dark, which is an oxidation process. When oxygen gets to the fruit, you can use this. It works out nice. Then you do need to put a cover on this. Did you ever see a ceramic box that looks like it's dead? I fought with this now for about 4 weeks, and every time I put it somewhere, it looks worse. And I thought, no, I'm not going to buy another one. I'm going to use that to the end. I'm putting a cover on here because there is a cover with this, but there's not enough space in here to put the cover on. That's why I have to use plastic wrap. We got that. Now, okay, now, a little bit about the microwave. This is my traveling microwave, and as I mentioned before, it runs a little bit slower. So what we're doing is we have to add extra time, okay, which is fine. And it also just goes on and off. You can tell it one of 3 things. You can tell it 15 seconds, 1 minute, or 10 minutes, or any multiples thereof. If you would like 10 seconds, you press 15 and catch it after 10. all honesty, it's so slow, there's not much difference between 10 and 15. After I explain this to groups, usually someone thinks, I wonder when she'll make enough money to buy a microwave that will work. The reason I like this, and I don't know who, if this was a patron or an employee, someone came out and lifted it for us. Did they lift it? Did you know him?
No.
Oh, you didn't know him?
It's a patron.
He's a patron, was he? So isn't that nice when you get old people they just know you need help. And so he lifted it for me. If he hadn't come along, I can lift this myself. Where some microwaves are too heavy. However, I think now they're getting newer, they're probably all lighter. But, did you ever have a friend that you just didn't want to dismiss? You just wanted to sort of keep them as part of your life, and so forth. And it's especially nice when I'm cooking blueberries because of the color. But it does do apples too. Okay, you got it? Okay, now you're quite a bright group, I can tell that. Okay. Here is the applesauce. And what I really like to use for applesauce is I like to use potato masher.
Put the butter in?
If I put the butter in? Yeah, the butter's in here. Yeah. Anybody see me do that? Okay, I think this is going to be a little softer than the because they evidently absorb more water than I realized, but it's okay. Then after we do that, then we put it back in because at this point it is quite lumpy and we don't want it lumpy. And but can you see how happy it is? So far, yeah. And I had 6 apples in here. Okay, let's see how we're coming here.
My husband, it's his favorite.
Butter's done. Whoever that was. Isn't that exciting? Now we'll do this about 5. Okay, there's 5. When you start smelling them, whenever you start smelling something, it's just better to look at it rather than say, just hold back, I don't want to look at you, and so on. So I could smell that, and so I think we're just going to see, just sort of see how it's handling life, okay? And, this is nice. This is nice, yeah. You are a wonderful group. And now, because of the extra water that they absorbed, there's a little bit more in here than, and it needs a couple more minutes, but it's almost there. Now, some people like to leave actually pieces in, and they call that chunky applesauce. So, it depends on what you're going to remember from this evening, okay? Actually, in all honesty, I think that's almost there. We're only going to go 1 more minute. It's almost there. Okay, we're still on. Yeah, we'll probably do it 2. Okay, we're still. Now we're back on that one stuff. Oh my gosh, we're there. Oh, look at that. Are you not? Is that not nice? Oh yes, you are. Now, at this point, where the lady was wanting to use fun or sugar substitute, any sugar substitute you want, whatever you want, and it may take a batch or 2 to decide how much. Notice I say 1/4 to a 1/2 cup, and now for some of you that might be sweet enough. For others of you, it might not be sweet enough. You see, so you sort of have to do it in personal life. Now, when I'm doing this like this, then you have to accept it the way I fixed it. So, yeah.